Hi everyone, this is Melanie Eisen. Welcome to week 2 of Introduction to Educational Philosophy. I hope week 1 was successful for you. I hope you were able to delve into the materials in a way that had meaning to you in your classroom and in your school. This week we're going to talk about curriculum. When you look at this wordle of curriculum, it encapsulates all the terms and ideas and people that are involved in creating curriculum. Curriculum design is complicated, but yields great results when done effectively and proactively and reflectively. So when you look at this hand, I like the image of the hand because it takes so many hands to create a successful curriculum. It takes hands to open up the possibilities of what is out there to bring into the classroom. It takes an eye to understand what is the information that we need our students to understand in order to be successful, both within their school lives and in their lives beyond the classroom walls. We have to always be keeping in the back of our minds that we're preparing our students, our 21st century students, for jobs and careers in a world of which we don't know yet what it's going to be. When I was in school a million years ago, there were choices in the directions that you could take, just as there were choices in my parents and what directions they could take. We had an idea of what was going to be out there for me to do, and together we worked out a plan and a plan of education to get me there. But now I don't know what kind of careers will be open to my own children. So having a curriculum that reflects the thinking processes, that reflects process and problem solving, all the 21st century skills that we're supposed to be stressing and should be stressing in terms of communication, cooperation, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking are skills that we want our students to be able to grapple with on a daily basis, no matter what the topic we're teaching. So as we plan for curriculum, we need to make sure that these lenses are brought in as we think about our students and what they will need moving forward. So as you look at this wordle, what words pop out at you? What would you add to it? Of course, at the center are teachers and teaching and learning and students and planning, but many stakeholders need to have their hands in the curriculum building process. This week you're going to be reading about learning from Heidi Hayes Jacobs and Robert Marzano and Bloom's taxonomy, and really thinking about when we talk about curriculum, what should be the framework of our discussions? What should we be thinking about as we plot our curriculum moving forward? This graphic spoke very strongly to me when I first saw it. When you think about the content that you want to teach, or when I speak to teachers or administrators who are developing curricula, one of the questions that you always should be asking yourself is, what is the content that is most important? And looking at this graphic might help you to think about it a little more carefully. When you're teaching your students content, or when you're teaching them your topics, what do you want them to stay? What do you want to stay with them for 40 days, 40 months, and 40 years? So when you're thinking about the content that you're teaching on a daily basis, what pieces do they need to get through this year? What pieces will they need to prepare them for next year? And what pieces will they need to prepare them for life? And it's through that lens that as you're sitting down to plot out your units of study and the curriculum for your particular subject area, to carry that lens with you and to constantly reflecting on, is this piece of information crucial to what I need them to know for now, for later, or for much later? And then how can I prioritize what needs to be taught? And once I've decided on that priority, I can bring in how I'm going to teach it. But what we are teaching should be seen through the lens of what are the most important pieces I need my students to leave my classroom with today, next month, next year, and in 40 years. Understanding by Design, developed by Wiggins and McTighe, is a wonderful framework for creating curricula. It has you go to the endpoint and then think backwards, right? I have a colleague who refers to it as plotting that point in your GPS. You're going to get to that point by the end of that road trip, right? Might take a day, might take 3 days, might take a week, but that's where you need to get to. And then we need to plot backwards. Well, what might be the road stops we need to make along the way to get us to that destination? So when you think about understanding by design, it's a 3-step process. The first step is to identify the desired results. What are the big ideas and skills you want your students to be coming away with at the end of this unit, even at the end of the lesson? Number 2, determine the acceptable evidence. How will you know that they've gotten there? What will be those benchmarks that will help you to understand, okay, my students have truly understand the content I wanted them to grapple with. And number three, what are those stopping places along the way that I can take those little tests to see, take a barometer test, take the temperature of my class to see, am I going to meet that endpoint today? What are the learning events that I need to proactively plan within my lesson and within my unit to make sure that I get to those desired results? In the video that you'll watch by Heidi Hayes Jacobs, who's one of the founders of Curriculum 21, she was a presenter at iGen, if you were there a couple of years ago. One of the questions she asks is, what year are our classrooms set up for? Right? When you look out into your classrooms or you visit classrooms, I had a parent refer to a classroom that was in my school as it's kind of like walking back into 1985. But the problem is it's 2015. So what are we doing to react to the changes that are happening all around us? For some, it might be technology, and for others, it might be asking the right questions. So this graphic tells it all. If it isn't the answer anymore, it really is the question. So what are the questions that we're building into our units of study, building into our individual lessons that will help us to help our students think proactively and critically and grapple with the information, no matter what grade level they're working with? When you're talking about Pesach, the idea of freedom should be carried out throughout the lessons. When you're talking about solving math problems, it's the idea that we're working together, the idea that we're setting the stage and setting the steps to how we tackle that problem, not necessarily getting the right answer. What are the questions that we're asking our students, and what are the questions that our students are asking us? These are the things that should be guiding how we develop our curriculum, and this is the information you'll be interacting with this week in the course. So this week, it pretty much follows the same path as last week. I think it might be nice if you go into your wiki journal, which you'll find on the welcome page of the course. Just click on the wiki space, and it will open up to your journal. And just jot down some ideas that are going through your heads. Maybe you have questions that you might want to be asking yourself to reflect on when you have more time to think about it, maybe during Pesach break or even in the summertime. Jot down some ideas on your classroom itself and how the readings and discussions that you'll be seeing in this course have an effect on your classrooms. I also want to acknowledge the fact that Pesach is coming no matter how much I'm in denial about it. So please let me know if you need any extensions on assignments or any extra time. It's my pleasure to give that to you, but please reach out for it. And then, of course, if you have any questions at all or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Here's my email address. So I hope this week is a meaningful one to you. I look forward to reading your assignments and sharing in your discussions. Have a great week.